Very good evening. Welcome to my channel. This is Royal Bangalore and your host, Paul. How are you guys doing, everybody? All well? I hope things are fine. We see a lot of news across the globe, but then we all talk about food, and I wish your food that you eat keeps you healthy and keeps you well and keeps you really your mind fantastic and positive all the time because we all live for food and it's not that we live to eat, but we eat to live sometimes, which is very important for your body. And today the subject is going to be all about, can India get a unicorn status on the QSR brands? And how many brands are there? Can we look at it? Yes, no. To to go ahead on this particular video, I would request you to go ahead. Any further questions on this particular information or even related to food, you can always go ahead and leave your comment section below, and I will take a look at it. I will go ahead and revert back to you, and I also will appreciate it. You go ahead that bell notification, and as a request, get that follow, get that like, and get that share because today we only going to talk about as much as possible about related to the food industry and basically a recipe for a unicorn status. What is that? It's required to create that fantastic brand. Remember, we're a 1.2 billion population. Food we all eat three times, five times in a day sometimes. And if it is a weekend and we are heading towards a festival season, please mind the way you eat your sweets, specifically Indian sweets. I mean, there's a huge tug of war between who are the best sweets in India. But predominantly, if you ask me, being a Bangalorean, I'm blessed with a whole lot of sweets. My favorite is Bengali sweets, but I really love the Assam's bay leaf, sticky rice, coconut milk, very fragrant kheer from there. Obviously, a Bangalore Muslim style kheer, dal ka meeta, kubani ka meeta, your bread halwa. From Kerala, we have this black halwa, coconut pudding. We have modak coming in. We have payasam, sheer, my mom's favorite pineapple kesari bath. So Mysore Pak, jalebi. My God, I mean, if you literally ask me the amount of sweets that we Indians, specifically from the Kerala, that we make, see, that's where the pinch of salt comes into picture. From the God's own country, it's for a reason. It's called God's own country, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear folks. If you have any questions about this, if you want to really do a banter on the food, please drop down. I will tell you how many sweets Kerala makes for this festival because we have the Kasargod, we have the Malappuram, we have Cochin, we have the Jew influence, Portugal influence. Trivandrum is more of a princely state. That influence of Cochin, influence of Arabic cuisine, influence of South, the entire coastal cuisines. The everything matters a lot in sweet texture. Believe me, I mean, you would know recently we celebrated Onam, right? We have five varieties of payasam alone. Five, man. God damn it. Using jackfruit. I mean, it's heaven. It's heaven down there all the time in God's own country. So, no banter. On a good note, we can kickstart this without wasting further ado. So, let's welcome everybody who's listening to this live session. So, welcome to my Royal Bangalore Food and welcome back to my channel. And we explore the most exciting trends to. And today we're diving deep into potential of Indian cuisines, looking at how Indian cuisine can generate, can resurrect, or rather can stand a pillar to create a QSR. We have Rebel Foods, we have Fasus, with same brand, yeah, Royal Biryani, the biryani by kilos. We have the QSR from Yum, your KFCs, your McDonald's, your Burger Kings. We have Chai Point, which is really growing really well. We have Drunken Monkey, as a Caventers. We have great amount of few brands, but not the brand which has been built across the globe. So there are huge potentials in terms of automations, food equipment, food technology, food science, quality, hygiene. Your recipe, no chef concept. That's my concept. I mean, no offense to all the chefs who watch my channel or anything else, but the sheer technological space that we need to leverage. For example, right, if you make a software as service, the reason why we all thrive in this particular model because we eventually teach the whole world. So the subject line and the main tagline on caps is basically teaching. It's about educating and explaining. Implementation is what we all earn money from the services, right? Similarly, in terms of food is concerned, it's about the equipment, it's about the technology, it's about menu engineering, it's about food science that you play around with is what the future is going to be. Whoever gets this thing right, and it's not a rocket science, believe me, it's all about food. If you can have a complex cuisine like what do you call it? So many, man, how can I forget? Sarsoka saag, my pork vindaloo, your Rogan Josh, your Nali Nihari takes minimum of 5 to 6 hours of cooking. My God, more than 20 to 20 ingredients goes inside. The bark, the red color bark, what we call it as, the what do you call the Rogan, the Rogan bark, which gives you that authentic bloody color, blood color in that Rogan Josh. Similarly, your spices, your powders. Sometimes it's a mix of garam masala, it's a King's Shahi garam masala. Sometimes it's your few herbs, flowers like your kesar, your rose petals, sometimes lavender, sometimes your wood, your perfume, which gets into picture. Matter of fact, for lodi kebabs, so everything goes. So Indian cuisine is as complex as it gets. And when we speak, sometimes we use two types of rices. We use different types of meats all over, from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west. All over the coastal is abundant. So it's a creating a complex unicorn on the QSR is really complex to give you straightforward answer. But can we automate it? Can we get this thing organized? Can we make it as the next big thing in India? Is the point that we need to see and analyze. So without wasting further ado, let's go ahead and kickstart and let's dive in. The first point is that the Indian culinary. I mean, I just give you an entire geography from all over India. So it's very clear that Indian culinary. Though I mean, I remember those days in my heydays, we had oh man, I'm forgetting this guy's name. The two chubby fat fellows roamed all over NDTV. Good times. The highway on my plate. Oh, can I forget this guy's name, man? Jeez. Okay. Anyway, so these two guys were on the plate, right? So they mentioned it very clearly. Every 5 kilometers. Okay, yeah, every let's say even every 20 kilometers in India, it's a different cuisine. How do we understand, to go ahead, what is Indian culinary? Indian culinary landscape is diverse, with multicultural, multi-diversity. Yesterday was a Ganesh Chaturthi. Just imagine the amount of sweets which is being done. Okay, so modak can be also steamed. Modak can also be fried. The stuffing which goes inside, it's amazing. Sometimes you use hot water. People are there to go even more extra, in terms of calories, extra taste factor. You add coconut milk to it. Instead of adding sugar in the stuffing, we add sugar while you also make the steam of the that pudding itself. Similarly, when modak, if you use pistachios, almonds, I mean, look at it, jaggery, shavings of coconuts, everything comes into picture. And I like the fried coconut, crispy, little bit. That's that mouth-watering stuff. Yeah. Similarly, imagine the laddu. We have jaggery. We have so many stuff. So the entire ingredient, the flavors, the entire regional specialities, everything comes into picture. Just a moment, please. Oh yes, I'm sorry. That was a quick alarm. 10 o'clock. I'm supposed to do something, and here am I doing an online live with you guys. If nobody's watching, also don't mind if later if you get to watch this beautiful, amazing concepts. How do we create a unicorn? Can we do this is the question, and can we create a great QSR models? So many businesses can be spoken about. I mean, I mentioned earlier it's about Indian culinary landscape, different flavors, fantastic millions of zillions of flavors, ingredients used, regional specialities, and innovative ideas to tap into diversity of Indian cultural is basically the Indian culinary diversification is huge. It's a plethora. It's like your Bahubali thali. Man, how do you finish that thali? This is the size of a stomach, the entire fist. That's what most of the chef would say. Most of my the food, the scientists would say. How much can you stuff in? Maximum 250 grams of portion that you eat, that you can eat, and probably you can stretch till 500 grams. That's all you can do with water, with your juice, your chai, whatever it is, for the matter of fact. And it takes, if you're eating a good non-vegetarian, it would take minimum 2 days to digest. So just imagine the amount of stomach that you have. So Bahubali Thali is the exact point of Indian culinary at its peak, at its beautiful audacity of showcasing the multicultural traditions of ingredients, flavors, the color, the texture, the aroma, the aromatics, the fragrance which comes out of, man, god damn it. Sometimes you use ghee, sometimes you use mustard oil, sometimes you use peanut oil, sometimes it's your coconut oil, sometimes it's your sesame gingerly oil way back in Tamil Nadu. This is crazy, man. I mean, so this is the beauty about Indian culinary. So if you're really talking about food for a foodie enthusiast, this is the right channel that you've reached. So with that in mind, another request, hit that bell notification, follow, subscribe, and get to know what's the future about unicorn status and QSR model. So the point is that next point, let's dwell upon the regional specialities. Imagine the QSR that celebrates the unique flavors. For example, I'm a Bangalorean. I'm blessed with five different cuisines, which is for me the heaven of cuisines. Okay, many people today. There was a beautiful question asked in KBC recently about neer dosa. That fellow couldn't answer. What does neer stands for? Neer is nothing but the watery texture of that dosa batter. That is neer dosa. Man, that fluffiness in that. There's hardly few ingredients which goes inside. What we do is that we use coconut milk on a loose texture. The rice, obviously, recently, you need to soak your rice, but then you don't churn it or you don't make a batter on a previous slide to ferment it. No, you do this just before 3 4 so rather 2 hours before you're cooking of your neer dosa. 2 hours before, very liquidy, and add that coconut, add that fennel seeds, and add that batter, and then very fine, liquidy, watery texture. That's why it gets a name called neer dosa. The secret ingredient is the coconut and your coconut milk, which gives you the white, pristine white dosas, fluffy, very sticky on the other side. It goes great with fish curry, chicken curry, also pork, and the speciality of neer dosa you always have with sweet jaggery with coconut shavings. That's the heaven to die for. Can you just imagine? This is like puri and halwa for the north, right? So neer dosa, it's heaven on its plate. You could take it minimum 20 odd because it's very thin. It just melts in your mouth the moment you put it in. So that's about, look at the Malabar. We have similar texture on Nai Patri. Pattal is similar to puri, but again, coarsely grinded with onions, with jeera, with fennel, with your rice, coarsely grinded. You have that crunchiness, beautiful texture. It becomes like a puri, and then it soaks with the what we call it as it's called matti molu. In the sense, it's a red color, thick red blood gravy which goes in the morning. Man, that's a heaven for a festivity. So the speciality about regional cuisines is abundance. It's just that many people get to see how you don't get chef to go ahead and do this. You don't get a Bengali or an Assami to come down to read, learn. Yes, he would take some time, even if you get involved. So that's why we have ready to eat convenience food in creating those base gravies and creating those amazing regional speciality, a delectable Mangalorean or a Kurgi or a Kasargod or a Batkali cuisine. Similarly, every state in India has its five or six cuisines, which is really, really regional to its extent, and it is amazing. The other day, I was seeing, you know, Kushal's this one channel on YouTube. Khane mein kya hai? Mr. Manjarekar did everything with the dry Bombay duck, dried fish, dried mandil, the dried shark, dried prawns. There are different types of prawn. My favorite is Bombay duck. Anytime. So the approach allows you to specialize in regional cuisine and helps the outlet to become one of the great hubs for a regional food lover. Similarly, we talk of the town is about Rameshwaram Cafe in Bangalore. Everybody's hitting. It's a great hyped up restaurants, great food, great quality, great hygiene. But at the end of the day, it's all about idli, vada, dosa, sambar. They've kept the South Indian pristine quality, serve the food in a very hygiene standard with huge dollop of fat of ghee, especially the Nandini ghee, aromatic, yellow in color, the original ghee, great smell, great texture, fantastic cuisine. So if you really want to showcase a North Indian guys or anybody from all over the world to see what is idli, what are so, and even tate idli served, you can take them to Rameshwaram Cafe. Not my cup of tea, but I would take them to Brahman's Cafe. I would take them a small joint in half dosa in SR Nagar. I would take them to Bidadi, to clearly mention about that tatte idli, which is actually made up of tapioca. Yeah, yeah. So tapioca, the sabudana, what we call it as. So, so that's the regional cuisine that we can ever thrive with. Then I would also take them for a lunch in in Chamundishwari in Mysore to give the authentic mutton based green masalas with ragi ball. Bro, that's the greatest thing that you can ever have. Regional cuisine is a great hub to go ahead and solicitate, get this thing organized. I'm sure it's going to kickstart very soon as we speak. It is just fragmented. People don't get to do this on a regular basis. You have to make use of food science and food technology and equipments to churn out this fantastic opportunity of regional cuisines. Moving on to regional specialities, as I mentioned, sorry, yeah, regional specialities. Today's health conscious, everybody's health conscious, man. It's a pattern. What goes around comes around. In 1960s, we didn't have food to eat. MTR made rava idli and rava become very famous. End of the day, many people forget. Even today, as we speak, if mom makes upma or upit, I don't even want to eat it. If I make keema upma, keema, get it right. It's a meat. If you add keema upma, texture is amazing. Biryani upma, texture is amazing. Whole lot of vegetables, a Chinese chung Szechuan chutney, the upma becomes greatest of all. You have with a few achar bites here and there. It's amazing. So upma can be consumed and treated for the health and wellness people. Convert upma, khichdi, dalia, sprouts, whatever is required. You can create a health and wellness around it. And one of the greatest idea to revolve is to incorporating the wellness aspect of it, creating this healthy aspects. I mean, for me, see, upma is a great, great asset. People have forgotten that upma can be served plain. Upma can be served as biryani, tomato, lemon. You can add, you can create whatever create in the rice. You can create in the upma. Similarly, for millet based, I'm all in for millet. I mean, I'd also spoken about millet as in the candy bar like a chiki, millet as in upma, millet as in biryanis, millets as in we use ragi here. Down south, the house grain, the foxtail millet is being used. There are 8 types of millets, huge abundance, very cheap, grown across season. You can make use of that. What Turkey uses as couscous, we can use it here as well in foxtail millet. So it's a great asset for a health and wellness segment to create on the channel. Also health and conscious for Indian QSR. Actually, food made these are the food can be made fresh with organic ingredients. Excuse me, and it's morely gluten free. Today other day I was looking at it. Everybody's promoting. Which channel is promoting? Not a promoting aspect. Clear indication about atta, Ashirwad atta versus normal atta. What's the difference? A lot of difference, right? Shelf life, quality, preservatives, all about Ashirwad to sustain. You have to do it. Once you package it, you have to adapt food science. But can you get the fresh atta? Yes, you can. But can you get the fresh wheat, which a great husk and a great brand to it, and then has a lot of gluten, and then you consume? It's absolutely horrific and horrendous for your life. So, today people don't realize that they are gluten free or lactose free. They don't realize in India. We just go and we blame that what, I had this. End of the day, people don't realize that still the education level has to get increased about gluten segment, about lactose intolerant, about a lot of allergy due to cashew nuts, peanuts, mustard seeds, so many seeds based food which gets into the like makhni, butter masala. People get bluish in color all of a sudden when they eat crabs, for the matter of fact. All the aphrodisiac, a lot of protein, a lot of vitamin, a lot of calciums, a lot of B12 involved in it. So certain food pair doesn't join together. For example, if you take cheese and wine, it's the greatest pairing, right? But sometimes don't get it. People don't get it. People have a lot of issues with their guts and so on and so forth, right? So the health conscious Indian segment has to have a plant-based alternative. So with that in mind, a disclaimer, I like to say that I am launching my own startup on the vegan products. This is to start with 4 products on coconut milk. Have a brand name called White Gold. I made a lovely video. Why don't you just go ahead and look up my videos? My third startup called the White Gold. That's a video title that you can have a look at it. Basically on coconut milk, virgin coconut oil, coconut powder, desiccated powder, because the coconut pricing have really gone up in entire South India, right? It's gone up to $40 per piece. Currently, it just come down for the festival season. It but just it will shoot up later because of the the weather conditions that we have predominantly. So coconut powder is actually a great shelf life or great power, great substitute to go and create chutneys, your bakery items, confections. It's like plethora that we can do. And the last thing is something new to the market is coconut chips. Very thin, flaky coconut chips, deep fried, sometimes air fried, sometimes baked with sweet flavor, with different flavors that we're working on. So that's a disclaimer. So since we spoke about plant-based alternatives, one of the greatest solutions that you can ever try is also my product. I will be launching this as soon as possible. Wait until I get launched, and then you can go ahead and buy these products. Similarly, the important my favorite subject is about tech and convenience. See, today, tech and convenience today, who are these people who become chefs? Everybody learns the college ways. Certain people go to the college, get inspiration, learn to the thick and thin, and become one of the greatest chefs. India, as we speak, do not have a Michelin chef. Or they have an Indian Michelin chef, but not in India. We do not have a Michelin star restaurant per se in India. India is a multi-dimensional cultural because if you have a look at the older mindset of chefs, people do not share some recipes, some informations. So that's when all this tech comes into picture. Do we have the right gadget to create a Chinese food or an Indo-Chinese food? No. There are hardly two or three companies in Bangalore, so in India, I would say, specifically from Coimbatore, from Madurai, and from even from Bangalore, from Delhi, few parts of Delhi really make good food equipments. But are they tech driven? No. There are one Chennai based company who made a robo machine which can cook biryani on its own. I mean, complication, but it does the job of biryani. It doesn't do the exact thing. So it needs a lot of things. Convenience is a new subject to a matter of Indian context because whatever sells in the whole world doesn't sell in India. So convenience is also a no-no here because people have this mindset. It's all about the education that it has to be told, and time and again we have to explain things about convenience. Food per se, meals ready to eat, is the future because this is going to sustain qualitative. The amount of food that we see on the street, the amount of unhygienic, the unqualitative products used, god damn it, you would just go ahead and puke and throw yourself up. Believe me, I should not say this. Street food vendors are the guys who really hard work on for them. But I'm people eat that food and expect that food in the restaurant or fine dine. No, my dear, that's not food. That's like your death coffin bed calling you, come and eat this. That's about it. So, two pillars of modern QSR today. If you want to build a great QSR, you have to adapt to technology, food equipment, food technology, and your convenience driven system. These are the two great pillars to build your QSR. Look at the other big brands like KFC, Domino's. Even though they have started in 1960s, they've always leveraged about standardization, quality, hygiene aspects. Time and again, if people come and go, I don't care, but the food turns out to be look the same, the size, the texture, the appetizing, the condiments, the flow texture, the food signs of it, the fermentation, everything comes into picture. That's when I time and again have spoken this, that the first thing that you do even before your idea is to get back to your drawing board and do a lot of R&D. Spend 6 months a year on your food segment, and believe me, your QSR will look fantastic when you adapt this technology and also your convenience, matter of fact, and then create a greatest QSR Indian ever wanted it. It could be like a Mani's biryani that we have here. We have R&R biryani. They've not used technology, but to an extent, Mani's biryani, yes. To an extent, we have Talpakati biryani. They've used, the huge cooking wok, lovely machine that you have to watch. It's available, slightly expensive, but to qualitative, to hygiene, but not to depend on the chef. To standardize it, it's the greatest technology. I would leverage it in case if you want to create something on the food brand for sure. The very important point, Kiran, from last 2022, from December onwards, we keep hearing, and this is going to be a future. It's nothing but on the AI based. Today, a lot of healthy meal plans, recipe management, all comes from AI. Today, thanks to ChatGPT. If you want to, I can go on and on AI. I just leave it in one line. Leverage artificial intelligence, my dear friends, families, enemies, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, young and old. If you want to create a greatest QSR model, please requesting you to go ahead and leverage artificial intelligence into your program. Personalize your recommendations based on the customer's feedback, thought process, the society that you live in, the market that you sell. Imagine a QSR app that learns the taste preferences based on the orders that you get it, and you suggest a food. It's going to be the greatest technology idea. Hey, I just created a new idea for you, so go ahead and leverage it all about. Make sure that you spend a lot of time on your organizing your smart kitchens. Hub and spoke model is a great way to go. I've also mentioned all my vlogs in the previous video talk about it. Your railway stations, your bus stations needs great qualitative hygiene food 24 hours. Greatest asset that you can ever do is leverage this market segment, which is you have a footfall of more than 10,000 people coming in and out all the time, 24 hours. If you're in Majestics, you're in Kiarpuram, you're in Whitefield, you're in Cantonment, Yeshwantpur, SBC, or uh, City Majestic, what you call it as. Look at all the main bus stands, Hosur, Shantinagar. You could just leverage your QSR, make it as big as possible. Smart kitchens is about cooking process, making sure that everything is easy and simple. Consistency is the key, the quality, the taste factor, your operational cost, your waiting time, all can be minimized through a QSR model. Why am I yelling and talking to you? Because I want somebody to go ahead and start, and I have a greatest plan. If you want to leverage and get collaborative, hook me up. I'm really interested to work around with you guys. I don't want to go on a different subject about sustainability, community engagement. It's all gyan, but then that's the future. But let's create a brand about QSR. We can go ahead and create a lot of unicorns on the food brands. That's the future that you have to walk on about it. We can talk about biryanis, we can talk about curries, gravies, breakfast. It's a amount of plethora of menu that you can do, and convenience food as well, leveraging dry fish, dry meat, plant-based meat, jerkies. I've made a detailed three presentations. If somebody's listening on the investment point, hook me up. I would like to talk and get this thing going as soon as possible, for the matter of fact. But first is the white gold. So, with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. If you have further questions, please hook me up because there's a huge segment of unicorn system that you can go and create and get this thing organized as early as possible. Mind you, it is India still diving yet to organize a unicorn status. Rebel Foods have done it on the great aspects. Biryani by kilo is one aspect. The Rameshwaram Cafe is just growing on the food. Look at all the old players, the Empire, the MTRs. There were Imperials out here in Bangalore. There were a lot of older joints. They had a lot of Udupi joints have actually defragmented and they've gone lost. Hook me up. Really interested to talk to you guys. Walk around. Let's walk around. Let's do this. Get the build of greatest QSR model. Thanks for listening. Thanks for appreciating and watching my videos. If you meddle this deep end, you know what to do. This is Paul signing off. Take care. Cheers. Good night. Bye bye.